What's up? It's Travel Chronicles chapter, I believe this is 51. I think I misspoke and said 51 was last week. This is actually 51. It's Monday. I'm on the way home today. Volleyball game. I'm on my way to the volleyball game. Just a little tired. Just wasn't feeling it this morning. It's going to be a long week. We got games or cross-country meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Date Friday. Saturday is another cross-country meet. So 2 meets, 3 volleyball games, and a date. It's gonna be busy. And I'm already tired. I'm tired from last week. What's going on out there? So I think we've had our first targeted fatality of police over the weekend. I haven't had a chance to read much about it or watch much about it, but what I can understand, there were 2 policemen parked in a vehicle. Somebody walked up to the car and shot the police. So I think way back, I had asked the question of, at what point is Black Lives Matter going to start to condemn people who are doing the wrong thing? And they're still not coming out and condemning it. You had people protesting. You had people not allowing the ambulances to get to the hospital to help the police. And now you're just gonna sink your whole effort. So now it becomes about what were you really trying to do? And I think where the wool had been pulled over people's eyes before, now they're going to see through, what your true intents were, and that was just to cause complete and total chaos and maybe defund the police, paint President Trump in a bad light for his response, whatever the thinking was, the rationale behind it was. It's been taken to another level, and probably not by people who were planning this movement or necessarily wanted this movement, but this is that law of unintended consequences, where if you keep forcing the narrative that police are bad, police are evil, then people are going to try to take things into their own hands and go out there and shoot the police. And you had an instance, I think in St. Louis, where a policeman had been shot. It was actually a black cop that got shot by a white gunman, go figure. But I don't think that was BLM related. That was just a guy who was drug dealing or whatever, holding himself up and was kind of pinned down and just opened fire. That's what that one was. This one was, completely intentional cop hunting. And that's what I said wasn't going to come to. Somebody could be happy once police actually get shot in the head in this case, and they didn't die yet, but they did get in and get surgeries and are dealing with gunshot wounds to the head and face. So I don't know what the recovery for that's going to look like. I don't know what the surgeries for that look like. It's pretty serious stuff. They were shot just right while they're in a car, just parked. Somebody just walked up and shot them. So that's the worst case scenario. That's the worst thing that could happen out of this, is that now the police have been vilified so much, people are actually hunting the police. When LeBron James said, "Oh, this is how we feel, like we're being hunted every day," this was, premeditated. Come out. Where are they at? I'm going to find a couple that I can shoot. That's what hunting is. These policemen were hunted. When you're out committing crimes and acting nefariously and having other people call the police on you, that's not being hunted. That is, not living the right way and having to deal with consequences. Are they unfortunate sometimes? Yeah. It was Ahmaud Arbery, unfortunate. don't know what he was doing. He was in some house or some new build where he didn't belong, and other people hunted him. They weren't even police. They just came and hunted him. They hunted him down, which was wrong. The guy took a shotgun. He tried to grab the shotgun off of him and got shot. And that's just, that was completely wrong. He was out for a run. Even if he was in that new build, what did he come away with? He couldn't have taken much if he's out for a run. Just a little. That whole scenario is ridiculous. Those guys definitely should be brought up on murder charges because they weren't even police. They weren't investigating anything. It's just like, hey, we saw him over here. He shouldn't have been doing that, so we were chasing after him and shoot him. That's all that was. They thought they could justify it. I didn't think it was their stuff. So that one was way out of place. And I don't know if they've caught the guy. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but that's the culmination of everything that's happened over the summer. Is that now police are being shot in their cruisers. It's not a good look for these protests. I seen one thing they called the BLM movement something murderers and looters. I can't remember what the B stood for, but I can't remember. But it was like, boy, that actually kind of fits with what they're doing, and they've taken like something that should be a good, noble cause that everybody can get behind, and they've just perverted it to the point where, if you're supporting it, you really, really need to look at what you're supporting right now, and question who's leading this effort, because everything is just, if the police make a misstep, we're going to protest. It's not, how do we fight this from the other side? Why are these guys committing criminal behavior? Well, it's probably because they didn't have a very good home life. Maybe single parent, maybe no parents, maybe they were raised by grandparents. Why were the parents not there? They were incarcerated, or they left, or they're drug addicts. Well, why is that? Well, it's because they, didn't go to school. They didn't get an education. They didn't have a decent paying job. So why don't we look at fixing education in these bad areas, enforcing that the kids are going to school in these areas, making sure they can get to school in these areas, and giving them an opportunity to get a job or higher education. Like, that's the only way you're going to fix it. The generations that have already grown up in this or are through high school, they've already passed through the system at this point. They are not fixable. They're beyond fixing. So you have to start at the beginning and make sure those kids understand how important school is, getting their education and getting into a decent paying job that requires them to have an education, maybe a higher education or some type of craft or trade skill. That's where you go. That's where you go to fix. You don't go out here and stop ambulances from getting in an emergency room. That's not fixing anything. It doesn't fix anything. Other than that, I'd really like to talk about fitness, but it doesn't really go with kind of the theme of this talk. So maybe I'll just save that one for later. Maybe later in the week. I've got about 5 days left on my 30-day six-pack routine. I've been stretching it. I've been throwing in extra rest days. I'll just talk about it a little bit. I've seen a couple things where it's like, if you're working the abdominals, you need, 2 to 3 days and then, a day off. Probably about 3 to 4 days a week is where you should be working, taking 3 to 4 days off. And then there's something else that says, oh no, you can work abs every day. You can work them every day. And I think you probably can, but maybe to like a certain point, because they're going to be engaged when you're doing these other activities. But if you're really targeting your abdominals specifically and doing, weighted workouts or large ranges of motion and getting all across your core, and maybe including the back and the shoulders. The rest need to be more frequent. The bad thing for me is that, like I said, I got stuff going on every night, so I may be at home by 8:30 if the volleyball games go well. Volleyball is like the worst sport to try to figure out when things are going to be done, because it's not timed. It's based on how badly are you beating another team, right? And in baseball, it goes a little bit quicker unless a team just can't hit, or a team can't pitch. And then those games can get long. I would say probably by high school, a team's at least got 2 or 3 guys who can get it over the plate on a consistent basis, but if a team's just teeing off on them, then it could get a little crazy. But I think even in high school, there's run limits. And the bad thing about volleyball is the games that last longest are the competitive games. We win a set, they win a set, we win a set, they win a set. Okay, and then it's going to 5 sets. And so there's not an easy, quick blowout type thing. Where in baseball, if it's competitive and low scoring, then those games are pretty quick. Same thing in basketball, unless it's just a hack fest. The competitive games are usually pretty fast. One team will go down and score, another team will go down and score. It's ones where they can't handle the ball, or they turn it over, and it's just, what am I watching? Those are the ones that drag on. Lots of fouls and stuff. The ones where teams know what they're doing, those games usually go pretty quick. In volleyball, it's like the complete opposite. Like if one team is like really, really good, another team is not very good, that game goes incredibly fast. That's about the best you can hope for, actually. And that's what I hope for pretty much every game, is that it's a sweep. I don't care if we win or the other team wins, just do it in straight sets. That's all. We'll see how that goes this week. Then we got cross country, so it's gonna be busy. It'll be hard to see if I can squeeze in the ab stuff. I got to run 13.5 miles a week. I figured that out to reach my goal of 1,020 kilometers for the year, which is going to be tough. Spent this week, so I'm gonna have to make up for that another week. The legs are very tight. Got a birthday tomorrow. I know one gift I'm getting, and I cannot wait to get that portable massage gun to massage out my legs. I cannot wait. But that's all I got for now. Like I said, I'll check in later in the week. It's gonna be a long week. I may not feel like doing many of these. Maybe by Friday I'll get another one in. See where I'm at on the 30-day. See what else has happened across the country. The COVID numbers are waning a little bit. I won't say they've bottomed. They won't bottom out until they're non-existent at this point. But they're on the downward trend. It's so baffling to me that the total number of cases or active cases isn't just dropping like crazy, because at one point we were adding 70,000 a day. We're only adding 30,000 a day, and we were adding 70,000 like a month ago. So you can't tell me that those people are still active. All those people that we've added, that we're up to like 2 million active cases, that all those cases are still active, because a lot of them have to be, do you still have it? Are you showing symptoms? We're not hospitalizing all these people, so how are we not getting the people worked off of the results? It's just, I think what's going to happen is after November, there's going to be this large correction that's going to come out and be like, oh, we realized we had double counted a bunch of tests and we weren't accurately taking people off. So in my mind, there's going to be a large correction that needs to take place. If it takes place in October, I think that'll bode really well for Trump, because he can point to that and say, look, we didn't think the numbers were right that they were putting out there. We don't want to say anything, but clearly the numbers didn't make sense. So we won't know what the actual numbers are. And then if anybody quotes the numbers, during the debates or anything, I don't even know if they're going to have debates. It can be like these numbers weren't accurate, from the start. So, we don't know really what we had, but we know we're, at least what the worst case scenario was. We were better than that for the country. I think that's about all I can say. To me right now, the active cases are not right at all. Probably by a factor of 50%. Inflated. That's just a guess, but I'd say the number's going to be halved as soon as they make that correction. All right, well, that's all I got for today. I'm going to try to find, I think 48 is the one that I'm missing, chapter 48. I either didn't do it or it got deleted already. It may have gotten deleted. But if it's not out there, I ain't going back. Just 51. We'll count right from here, hopefully. At least for another 3 or 4. Okay, well, that's all I got right now. I'll see you later. Be careful. Stay COVID free.